guys, it is Erin or Gimme Yarn 418 and I am here with Thank God It's Finished. Before I show you what I've been working on, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our week. It's been a long week. Yeah, it's been a long week. It started on Saturday, probably 15, maybe 20 minutes before I turned on the Hangout. Kristen went downstairs to change a fuse for our dryer and we had a fire. Don't worry, it was a very small electrical fire, but it was scary and stressful and made the rest of the week not harder, but there were a lot of things that we had to do differently than we would typically do. For instance, I had to spend a couple hours at the laundromat because we didn't want to use the dryer until the electrician came out, obviously. We had to hunt down an electrician and have him come out and do that work, and yeah, it was not fun. It was really not fun. And then on top of that, the next day, my coffee maker died. So Sunday, I was not a pleasant person to be around. I think I'm a relatively pleasant person, but I do like coffee. It does help wake me up, and I do drink a fair amount of it. I usually have 3 or 4 cups a day, and on Sunday I had 0, and I had a killer headache, and then I fought with the Keurig company for the rest of the afternoon. Then the dryer on top of that. It was just ridiculous. Of course, our Keurig was out of warranty, but this was our 7th Keurig, if I am remembering correctly, 6th or 7th, and the Keurig is 2 years old. This Keurig is a replacement to a Keurig, and I just was really upset because they said it must be an internal problem. We'll sell you a new one for $79.99. And that was great. $80 for a Keurig is great, but I shouldn't have to spend a coffee maker, an item intended to be used every single day, should last longer than 2 years. You know, I know that Keurig makes the majority of their money on the K-Cups, but they'd make more money. They obviously don't make any money on their coffee makers because they don't last. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. If you're going to make a product that costs what it does, that you use every single day, you have to make it so it lasts. And that's what really stuck with me. So I ended up emailing the company and saying just that. The person that I spoke to on their 800 number was not helpful and was very rude to me, actually, and I didn't appreciate that. She accused me of not cleaning my Keurig and told me it was an internal problem and offered to sell me a new one, and that wasn't acceptable to me. I would much rather go out and spend anywhere from $20 to $80 and buy an old-fashioned drip coffee maker and spend less money in the long run than drop another $80 on a machine that's going to break down in a year or 2 years or 6 months, depending. I mean, they just don't last. So I wrote to the company and I told them that I was dissatisfied and that it just wasn't right. I said exactly what I'm saying to you, that a product that's intended for daily use in a price point that I think is a high price point for what it is, considering how much money you have to put into it to actually use it, if they're going to make a product, they need to stand behind it. And standing behind it is a product that lasts longer than 2 years. So, all that being said, I did get a call from Keurig, and they did offer me a new machine for free, which I took. But I will say that when this new machine expires, I will not purchase another Keurig. I might be in the wrong here, but I think that when you spend a lot of money, I felt like it was spending money on another Keurig was putting good money after bad, because we've already had this string of problems. So this will be my last Keurig. If history repeats itself, it won't last too long. Maybe a year, maybe 2 years. But we'll see. I have a coffee maker for now. I can drink coffee. And all is good in the world for today. So, that's it. I think that's it. Yes. Okay. So what have I been working on? I didn't work on a whole heck of a lot because I was really stressed. My eye is so itchy. I also got a little sick from being so stressed out. I had a fever for a couple days and slept a lot. But I do have a couple things. The first thing I made on my Addy, and I made it, it's a pig. His ears are a little wonky, and he does have a curly tail. This was a picture, I saw a picture online for a pattern by Amy Gaines that was hand knit. And I said, oh, I think I can do that on the Addy. The only thing was, part of the pig was in stockinette and part of it was in, not garter. It might have been knit in garter, but it was the purl side of stockinette. So what I did was, I knit 15 rows of pink, which I wish I had done more. And I put waste yarn on. Oh, which end did I put waste yarn on? I put waste yarn on the end. After I knit 15 rows, I put in waste yarn and I knit a couple rows of waste yarn. Then I took it off the Addy, I turned it inside out, and I put the stitches back on the needles and knit on the wrong side so that one side would be stockinette and one side would be knit, one side would be purl. And I knit the body that way. It was a bit tedious getting it back on, but no more tedious than turning a brim. Oh, dewy. And I like how it came out. I crocheted the arms and the legs and the snout. I didn't do separate ears. If I liked the face a little better, I might have done the separate ears. But yeah, I stitched up the top and I cinched the bottom. I'd mixed about a handful of pony beads, you can hear them, and some stuffing for the bottom just so he will sit. And you'll see him, he's back here. So he came out pretty good. He goes along with my trying to do, what was my goal? 14 projects on the Addy beyond the basic tube hat. So he's another one for that. My next finished object is kind of a finished object work in progress. Kristen's nieces are, making squares to sew a blanket together for Project Linus. And I have more time than they do. And I said, would you like me to make you some? And they said, sure. So I have this bucket of squares. They're just 10 stitches by 10 rows. They're 3 inches by 3 inches. And I'm just using my scraps and sewing them together. I don't know, I might have 20 or so here, maybe 30. And I'll be giving those to them. I just dropped one. I have a couple more balls here to make some more. And my hook, and that's just something mindless I can do. Then on Wednesday, I was really in a slump because of all the stuff that was going on, so I decided I was going to cast on a crochet project, because crochet is so rewarding because it's so fast. It's like instant gratification. It's like a hat knitting. You can, in the time it takes you to knit a hat, you can crochet an entire shawl. No, maybe a little bit longer. But it's so instant and you can see the progress so quickly that sometimes that's what I need. And I love crocheting and I will never ever stop crocheting. So this is the South Bay shawl. It's actually called the South Bay Shawlette on Lion Brand. All my links will be on my Ravelry page as always. The pattern calls for a fingering weight yarn and I think a size H hook, but I used a DK weight yarn and I think I used a J hook. I'm not sure where it is. The only thing I did different is that I just continued the pattern for 2 full balls, and I forgot the ball band too. But this is King Cole DK in the brand, I can't even think. This is Riot. It's on my Ravelry page. And this was sent to me by Sarah, S.E. Hepworth. And I love how it came out. I just think it's beautiful. And I just kept repeating the pattern because I wanted to make it bigger than just I wanted it to actually be able to wrap around. This is not something I myself would wear. Not because I don't love it. I think it's beautiful. It's just not my, it's not my style. But I may, now that I'm feeling it on me, I might change my mind. It's really pretty. In the ball, this looked a lot more orange than it does worked up. And I just love it. Came out really great. I did not do the edge because I literally had the edging because I had 5 inches of yarn when I finished my last row. So that took me like 3 days, 2.5, 3 days of working on it here and there, just trying to get back into the swing of things because, oh my eye. This is like the full of complaints episode. Anyway, I'm very pleased with that, and I am considering making another shawl. I'm not a shawl person myself, but they're so fun. They're so fun to make. So I have a couple works in progress. First, the Sparkly Blanket of Awesomeness has 0 progress, so I'm not going to pull that out. Second, the Hero. I would much rather knit something and rip it out if it's not right and then knit it all over again than knit something, know it's wrong, and continue going and never be pleased with it. The Hero, I had 6 skeins knit. The entire body of the except for the yoke, knit. And I tried it on. Thank God. Because it would have been down to my knees if I continued going. And thank God I tried it on. Even if it wasn't too long, there were 2 things I did not like about how it was coming out. I did not like the waist shaping. It just was not flattering for my body. It was not what I wanted. I just wanted a comfy sweater to wear. And I also, as much as I tried to convince myself I did not like the turned hem. So, I ripped out 6 skeins of yarn and restarted, and I only have about this much done. I'm going to drop the yarn. I'm not doing the turned hem. I am just doing 1x1 ribbing. It says to knit for 1.5 inches. I think this is about an inch. I'm going to knit for the 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to go, and I'm not going to do the waist shaping. I'm only going to go based on measurement. I also went down a needle size. So, while it was hard to rip that out, it was also liberating because why am I going to keep working on something that I ultimately will never, ever, ever wear because I don't want a sweater dress, I want a sweater. My last work in progress are the socks for Kristen. She called them Toes in the Water. They're by Lollipop Yarn in the Tranquility color. And this is how much I have. I'm just getting ready to do the heel. My coloring is really off. There, that's the color. It's more green than it's showing on the screen. It's definitely a green teal. I apparently am echoing. And I really like it. I actually might work on I think I'm going to work on these this weekend while I'm out of town. So that is all I have for works in progress. Not much to show, but I'm still at 15 minutes. Pretty good. So what do I have up next? I have no idea. I don't know. I pretty much want to knit everything, crochet everything, so I'm kind of at a standstill about what I'll do next. I'm sure I'll come up with something. The other thing is, don't forget we have a sock. Crochet along, knit along, loom along, crank along, whatever you want to do as long as you have 2 socks and they are completely completed. 2 socks in 1 picture in the finished objects thread by the end of the knit along, which ends on April 30th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then you're eligible and you can enter as many times as you want. You can double dip. Somebody made a pair of socks on a loom and they're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. I had a sock loom for about 10 minutes. I couldn't figure that sucker out. But I think that's what's great about knitting, crocheting, looming, all that stuff. If something doesn't work for you, it might work for somebody else, and vice versa. There's always options. I opened a new thread on the Ravelry board. It's called the TGIF, Thank God It's Finished. And that's where you can post any finished object that you have finished. It's not for a prize or anything like that. It's just to show what you've been working on. You can chat around that thread. You can do whatever you want. Well, I mean, it's more to converse about finished objects. So if you have something that you're proud of that you finished, pop it on there and see. I think there's only one thing on there so far. I think Snowy 44 posted her Hogwarts Express, which is beautiful. Next, tomorrow, March 29th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will not be hosting a Hangout, but Zoe has volunteered to open that thread up for everybody, to open that Hangout, and she will post on the Ravelry board when that is live. She will not post on this video because she doesn't have access to my YouTube to change that. I am out of town, so I will not be there, but you all can still hang out and have a great time. And that brings us to introductions. We are up to 124 members in our group, which is so awesome. The fact that 124 people know who I am and know what I'm doing and care I just think it's great. I mean, we seem to have a really great group of people. There's been a lot of chatter in the sock knit along thread, and there's also been so many awesome things shown in the Whip It Out Wednesday thread. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. And I said before that every once in a while I am going to draw a prize from that. I will be doing that soon. Nothing big, probably just a small pattern or something like that. But every Wednesday, pull out all your whips, take a photo of them, and show us what you're working on. I've been averaging about 4 whips every week, whether they're being worked on or not. And the only whips I tend to photograph are ones that I'm actively working on. Although I don't know, I have one sewing project that's kind of inactive right now, but other than that, I don't have any hibernating crochet or knitting projects, which is shocking. So, long story long, go check out the group. There's a lot of great stuff going on there. Whip out your projects on Wednesday. We also have been posting them on Instagram, and let me see what the hashtag for that is. Because there's a lot of people post. Well, not a lot of people. A lot of people post on Ravelry, but Sarah Hepworth and I both post on Instagram, and it's so cool to see what everybody's working on. The hashtag is #TGIF Whip It Out Wednesday. Really original. So I'd love to see what everybody is working on. It really inspires me, and it keeps my knitting, crocheting, yarny mojo a-flowing. So we have some introductions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new people introduce themselves on the group. So I'm going to butcher their usernames and hopefully not their real names as I welcome them to the group. The first person who introduced themselves, actually this is not the first person. I did them completely out of order because I was having a moment. The first person I have on my list is Chesky Division, who is Sarah from Michigan. B-A-Y-I-E, Bay, who's Amy. She didn't say where she was from. This is another one I'm going to kill. Lori Hohif, Loriehohif, who's Lori from Wisconsin. There's 2 things that I am horrible at: spelling and pronunciation. I'm sure there's more things I'm horrible at, but 2 things that I am well aware that I am horrible at: spelling and pronunciation. So I apologize. Moving right along. Next we have Kazzy77, who is Karen from Windsor, Berkshire, United Kingdom. I live in Windsor, not Windsor, Berkshire, United Kingdom, but very interesting. Next we have, I think I wrote this wrong. No, I didn't. Filipa MC, who is Filipa from Portugal. And I spelled Portugal wrong. I can see that. And last but certainly not least, I have on my list Guys Love Yarn Too, who is Blake from Newfoundland, Newfoundland, Canada. I can't read my own handwriting, and I typically have pretty good handwriting. So, this video has gone from I knew exactly what I came here to do to me just tripping over my own words. So I'm going to go. I will not see everybody tomorrow, but I will be back next week. And I hope everybody's doing great. And until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye.